Hello everyone. So now, as you can see, here's the sketch and here's the finished assets. Yay! Now let's see each of layer. So first one are the chain. On the sketch you can see it's supposed to be have shape like this, like, but rather adjusting the shape now, I think I will just uh, deform it on After Effects instead for the chain. And even though there is many chain in here, I don't think I need to draw more than one. I just need to draw one on each type and copying it later. Okay. I will also blur it on After Effects instead. Second one, the hand. Here's the comparison version. Rather than make it on the actual angle I want, in this angle, I decide to just draw it on straight view like this, because in deforming your image, it will be better if it have straight view. But I will explain it on the After Effects basic tutorial process. So we will just save the question for now. Okay, so in the hand, you can see it's separated into several small parts again. Starting from the back sleeve in here, that will be continuous with the front sleeve. You can try to play the position to see if it's blending enough. As you can see, mine is already well connected. Okay, good. Then there is the upper arm. I intentionally just connect it with the thumb because I don't think I will animate the thumb separately. And then there is the palm, this and this. Depends on your animation. I think you need to separate that parts too. Separating parts on the hand are really tricky because there is so much possibilities and combination in cutting the assets. Like for the fingers, you can even separate it into 3 segments if you want, like 1, 2, 3. But in my case of animation, I don't need to. But I indeed need to separate the nails like this because nails will help us to make that fake 3D illusion that we want to. And then you can see the middle finger, they have a ring, so I also separate that because I think it's better to not merge the ring and the finger. You can also merge it, but I think it will be more detailed if I just separate it for now. Then the ring finger, you can see, same like before. The ring and the nail is on the same layer. And the base of finger separately. For the case of the little finger, uh, the shape of this part is still really weird because the perspective is still wrong, but it is okay. I will deform the shape later in After Effects. So that's for the hand. I will give you the file later, but I think I will give you in more tidier version. So probably I already merged some layer like the line art and the base color. I think I will just merge it so you don't need to see unnecessary layer. And then here's our halo. So later I will just deform it to the shape I want. Like this, we can play with the perspective. It's more flexible this way. Okay. And then the glasses. So as you can see, the glass is also separated into several frames. First one, the frame. Later, we will just, copy the frame, flip it, and then merge it like this. But we will do it later in the asset preparation phase. I don't think I want to do it right now. But if you just want to do it right now, it's also feel free. The step is also not definitive method. You can just find your own way. And just gonna delete it. And then the same for the lens, the red lens. I will also duplicate it later and flip it. And as I mentioned before, the reason I separate the lens with the frame is because I want these parts to be having multiply blending mode, and you cannot merge it with layer that need normal mode. You can only choose one. That's why we need to separate it. But in the case you are still using normal mode like this, but you think, okay, rather than make the blending mode multiply, I will just turn down the opacity. It is possible to merge it with the frame because even though both have different opacity, as long as the blending is still the same, it's normal, then you can just merge it. But right now I want it to be multiply, so I need to separate it. So this one. And I also only draw one and just will copy it to the left side. And the chain, as I mentioned before, we need to separate it into two because in the case of for the left chain, I want it to have like depth. So we can like play with the back side without affecting the front side. It will give you a nicer dimension to your drawing. And then this additional chain, crystal, I will also add it, separate it because I want to animate it separately. And I didn't want it to affect the chain. That's why I think it's better to just separate it. I will also just copy the crystal to the left later, like to the here. But I'm just gonna do it later because I think if I move it to the laptop and edit the rest in Photoshop, it will be easier since my laptop have more storage and capacity than the tab. I didn't want to burden my tab too much, so if I can just separate it later on the laptop in Photoshop, it will be better for me in my case. Now the hair will be have several layer. This one is first one is the bangs. For the front bangs, they will also have like extra hair strand above here, okay? But we will just separate it later. And there are some parts that I put on wrong. Okay, so the hairpin also on separate layer because I want to give some glittery effect, I think. That's why it need to be separated. And as you can see, my line art layer is not line art anymore because I'm I like to repaint my art, but I think rather than adding another new layer for the repainting, I just do it on the line art layer. So the base color is look like this and the line art look like this. This is like the most tidier drawing files that I have. Really proud of it because usually my drawing files is even more messier. Not recommended. Okay, so that's our first bank files, and here's the below banks like this. As you can see, because I want to make like a shadow in here, but I don't think I need to like separate a shadow again and put it on multiply. I think that's too much. I'm just like make the hair already have that shadow color. So here's the line art and here's the base color. It's the same with the bangs, the other bangs. In the case of hair, I prefer to repaint it above it, but we will just merge it later, so it's okay. That's for the front hair. And now we are going to the mouth. As you can see, the mouth is already separated into upper lip and bottom lip. Let me hide this for. So upper lip, bottom lip. Okay. And now for let me release the clipping mask. Um, this is our mouth inside. Okay, I forgot to retouch it. So let's just blend the color so it more. Okay, something like this, I think. And then here's the back teeth, the tongue, the front teeth. We will later also separate the upper and bottom teeth, but we will just do it later. Let me clipping mask it again. That's for the mouth. And for the nose, I also separate it into the left nostrils, the nose base, and the like on the left like this. I need to separate that part because when I make the head turn to the left, the like on the side in here will slowly disappear. That's why I need to separate it. Bottom eyelid will look like this. It will be just merged. For in the case of bottom eyelid, I also like to merge it with the something like agosal. So you don't need to separate that. And here's the for the eyelash. For my eyelash, I also just merge it with the eyelid. So this will be become one layer later, one asset. And here's for the sclera. Just let me retouch a little bit. Make sure the color are correct. And then here's the eyeball. Make sure you draw it fully. Cutting mask it so later it will be just animated like this. For the eyebrow, I intentionally just merge it with the shadow, yet usually below the eyebrow like this. So Here's the head. For the head, I also merge it with the hair root and the shadow on the left. You can also just like separate the shadow on different layer and set it to multiply or something if you want more details. But I usually just merge it. And now if I turn on the face parts, okay, no need for the hair. Try to like, now you can see here, like the bottom lid, it's not blend too well. We need to fix that. Okay, now it's more blended. That's why nothing wrong in keep rechecking your file, because with a lot of asset, it's normal if you just miss something. Now we try to move the asset and see if it's blend well. Okay, the mouth look blended. The nose look okay. Okay, the transition looks smooth, so it's okay. It's not like the nose will be moved into the cheek, so uh if we try to keep it on the middle, it will still blend well. I think for the head, I will just make the center more like, so there is more safer gap for the nose later. Something like this. So there's more space for the nose movement. Yeah, I think this one is better. Also, I will try to move the eyelash. Like if I make it blink like this. Okay, the shadow looks nice. Of course, we will later play with the sclera when the eyes close, so no worry. I would just want to make sure it's blended when the, okay. Okay, it doesn't look well, so it's okay. I'm giving it a pass. Now for the neck, all looks good. Just blend it more. And this is will be the tattoo later. Just gonna hide it. For the color, okay, it's all look good. The belt, as you can see in here, there is also rendering layer. So it's just for retouching it, like before, after, before, after. The body is also look seamless enough. Just gonna turn out the color to see it. And then the arm and the back hair. Okay, it's all look good, look good. I think for the body, I want to recolor this. So I don't want it too black. Something like this, it's blending more. Now I'm just turning it on and see. Oh, did I skip the ear before? Oh, yes. For the case of ear, the earrings, I don't think I will separate the earrings from the ear later. I will just merge it, but in the case of the dangling chain and the red jewel, it need to be separated because I want it to move a lot. And I will just also start to move the ear. It looks seamless, nice. The wings, I don't think there's a problem in the wings. It's just I want to make sure the front ring in here is well connected with the back. Okay, it all looks good, looks good. I think it's safe to do a lot of deforming later. Here's the wing base, the front and the back chain. I think that's all enough for the assets. Hopefully it's clear enough. I'm sorry fast forward a lot in the coloring process, but it's just coloring, and I believe each of you have different type of coloring. Just make sure if you want to color it, try to make it the transition as smooth as possible. The border, I mean. But for the coloring technique and the rendering, it's really up to you. There is no rules. I think in the asset preparation, the most challenging things you will encounter is trying to make this kind of asset, but in your own art style. Because right now, what I'm teaching will heavily depends on my own art style. That's why I believe some of it didn't really suitable to your own liking. That's why let's just make this as a homework for you. Try to implement the knowledge I gave you in this as a preparation. Try to implement it to your own drawings. Probably you have like a really stylized art, like probably you have that kind of a highlight on the hair, but I just didn't draw it. That's why you need to try it on your own drawing and see how it will be works on yours. Good luck for it. Okay, I think that's enough. And thank you for watching. Of course, when you seeing the assets like this, you realize that there is a lot of it that need to be fixed before import it in After Effects, and that's correct. We will learn how to organize our assets and clean up the layers on the next process that named asset preparation. So what we will do basically is renaming, rearranging, merge the layer that need to be merged, and separate the layers that need to be separate, etc. We will make sure the files is clean and ready to use for our last step, that is animation. Asset adjustment actually can be done here in your drawing software. You doesn't need to use Photoshop, but I will later show you several tools and several effects that can only be achieved from Photoshop, and you can free to decide if you want to installing Photoshop for it or just use your original drawing app. But remember, make sure your drawing app can export your drawing files to Photoshop files. Even though you don't have Photoshop, just make sure it can be saved as PSD, because only PSD files can be opened in After Effects, because we want to export files that can maintain all the layers inside, all the layers and arrangement, instead of just moving each PNG one by one to the After Effect. You can just like drop the PSD files, but I will just explain in details in the next video. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next video. Bye.